Hi and welcome to Emsi Webinars. We're really excited to be joined by Anthony Horn today, who is the FE Sales Director for Emsi. If you have any questions during the course of this webinar, please put them in the question box on your control panel and we will endeavour to get to those at the end of the presentation. You will also be receiving a recording and the slides from today's presentation after the webinar has completed. So without any further ado, I'd like to hand over to you, Anthony. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Debbie. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Really excited by today's webinar. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to be talking about how Emsi Career Coach can help you to connect local adults with the labour market. So for the next 20 to 30 minutes or so, we'll cover off a few things during the session, including how certain sections of the Career Coach tool can be used most effectively for adults. We'll also share some tips on how you can get really creative and take your use of Career Coach into a new ground in an even more targeted, bespoke offering for adults. So some pretty exciting stuff in store. But before we get onto those main agenda points, just a very, very quick introduction to Emsi for those of you who aren't already familiar with us. So we are a global labour market data firm, headquartered in the USA, with a number of operations in a number of countries, such as here in the UK, as well as other countries around the world. And as you can see on screen there, our very focused, targeted mission is to spend our time investing in solid labour market data and then providing that to the outside world, to you guys, so that you can make more informed decisions and help individuals and employers make more informed decisions using labour market and skills data, with the central aim being that we all contribute to more successful and prosperous local economies. And one of the software tools that Emsi has that allows us to do that, and therefore allows you to do that, is our Career Coach tool. To begin with then, why do we think this is such an important issue right now here at Emsi? And why do we believe that using the Career Coach tool in the current climate is a real opportunity for FE, colleges and providers to provide local leadership at such an important time as we are experiencing right now? Well, we are all, I'm sure, very familiar with what's been going on over the past few months, and I'm not really going to spend any time talking about the impact that COVID has had on national and local labour markets, other than to say, as we can see on this slide on screen, we've gone through a period of huge upheaval with employment beginning to increase, and over the past few months, massively decreasing employer hiring. That's across the board, across the country, and there'll be a specific pattern of that in your local area. That is going to continue over the next few months and possibly even over the next year. And so there really is a massive need to help adults navigate their own pathway through the labour market, whether that be into a new job or whether it be to reskill and move into a related job. Whatever the right thing is for adults in our local communities, now is the time for us to be stepping up and really helping them out. That is, of course, set in the context of various government-led initiatives that have been introduced to, in theory, try and help support and fund labour market recovery, many of which are under the Plan for Jobs programme through the UK government. So through that, we've seen things like sector-based academies being pushed, traineeships, which have obviously been around for a long, long time, but they're being kind of pushed and promoted again. And more recently then, things like the Kickstart scheme to help encourage employers to offer placements and ultimately employ people. And undoubtedly we'll see more initiatives like this and more funding opportunities hopefully springing up over the coming months, which I would hope would be very much informed by the contents of the upcoming FE white paper, which we've seen the folks at FE Week and elsewhere in the press reporting on extensively recently. I don't think it's a stretch to imagine that the FE white paper will contain quite a bit about connecting adults with local labour markets and about giving adults the skills that are needed in those local areas by those local labour markets and employers within those local labour markets. So talking of skills and the importance of the upheaval of this past year has seen skill trends moving around and some interesting skills coming to the fore. So, for example, the use of personal protective equipment has become massively important to various jobs and various employers for obvious reasons. But the broader point here is that skill demands change over time, and they change specifically specific to where you are, specific to your local region. That's going to be even more the case over the coming months. As industry sectors and jobs within those industry sectors recover, or in some cases don't recover, we're going to see those skill demands and skill needs in local areas moving around, in some cases quite considerably. And so by helping adults to understand that, and by being that local leader in your local labour market, as those skills and as those individuals move around the labour market, that's really a huge opportunity for FE. Now then, turning more specifically to Career Coach, firstly, a reminder or an introduction to those of you who aren't familiar with our Career Coach products about the core central purpose of the Career Coach suite. And that's because I think that core purpose is more relevant than ever right now. And that core purpose is all about making the connection between your courses and local careers, so local jobs. So what's the connection between what you offer and the pathway into and through the labour market and jobs in your local area? So if we have a course, an example on screen here, which jobs does it lead to? Because there'll always be more than one job that a course leads to, of course. What do those jobs look like locally? So employment opportunities now and in the future, salaries, skills that are in demand, making that connection between your course offering and that labour market information. That's what Career Coach is all about, and it's what it's always been all about. So that then allows the opportunity for the best users of Career Coach and Emsi Data to use their websites to direct people towards Career Coach, so to then help users of Career Coach navigate through what career they want or what course they're interested in, and allows users of Career Coach to access information on what that all means, how many jobs there are, how much might I earn if I move into that job, etc. So that's the kind of core purpose of Career Coach and what we're trying to do with the tool. And hopefully you can see why that's really important for adults in the current climate. And with that in mind, then let's take a look at the Career Coach portal in a little more detail. We'll highlight some of the sections of the tool that are going to be most useful for you in connecting adults with your local labour market and with jobs in your local labour market. So to begin with, I'm going to use the Preston College example, Preston College Career Coach portal as an example. So just a minute ago there, I mentioned the core purpose of Career Coach being to make that connection between courses and careers. So if I run a career search here, we can see different types of careers, and then I've dug into that and we see here the different types of jobs that are on offer in that particular area. And I was just speaking to a colleague here at Emsi just this morning, actually, who has experience of literally sitting down with a group of adult learners and running through this exercise, running through this simple kind of click through of, what job do you have right now? What job would you ideally want? And that's what Career Coach can help you to do quite quickly and quite easily. And then similarly, if I run a course search here, we'll see the different course departments that you have on offer. And then if we scroll down and hit one of those, we're going to dig into that course area and see the different courses that are on offer in that career area and course area at your institution. So whether that be an apprenticeship or a part-time course or whatever, it's about making that quick connection between course areas and what you have on offer. And even those simple steps there, really, the basics of Career Coach are going to be really helpful for people who have been made redundant or who are at risk or who might just be looking at options for the coming period in terms of their employment options. Flicking back then to the career search, which we just kind of quickly skipped over there, thinking about the bits of data within that section of Career Coach that are going to be most useful for adults in the current climate. An obvious section to highlight here is the live job postings section. So the live job posting section does what it says on the tin. It's going to highlight and pull through live jobs that are on offer in your area right now. So that might provide a quick entry or re-entry into work for people who are interested in this case being a plumber. The other section I'd really highlight here is the skills in demand data. So that sits under the about section when you're in a particular job section of Career Coach. So again, for the example I've chosen here, a plumber, what are the specific skills that employers in your region are asking for? Again, that's going to be so important for many people in your region over the coming weeks and months. And then the third and final section that I'd highlight is really important for your engagement work and helping adults is this assessment section here. So again, speaking from experience, this can be really helpful in helping people identify the kinds of things that they like to do, which is then going to direct them towards the type of job, the type of career match that their kind of very high level interests point towards. From experience, this can be really helpful in helping people who, particularly adults who might be new to the situation that they're in, or they might even be new to engaging with a provider such as yourselves. So they might not necessarily know the language of courses or even the language of colleges or providers. So this assessment section can sort of help softly introduce them to those concepts and help them understand what you have on offer and how that's going to help them to move more closely towards a successful employment outcome. So they are the kind of 2 or 3 core bits of the Career Coach portal that I point you towards in your engagement work with adults. They are sections that are in everyone's portal, and you're probably already using them. Again, it's about how to highlight those sections, particularly for the adult market, and get them to really understand what the tool can do in helping them to understand the employment picture even better. And as I alluded to earlier, various members of the Emsi team here in the UK have a lot of experience in doing that, so a lot of experience in working directly with adults to help them either retrain or move into additional different employment. So please do reach out and we can discuss some of those use cases in more detail. Next, then, moving on, what I want to do is highlight some additional tips and flexibilities that you have with the Career Coach portal. If you really want to get creative and to really allow you to design a more bespoke offer for adults. And I'm going to use the Emsi demo portal here just to share some ideas. So this is just a demo site that we have set up. So firstly, I've kind of touched there in that previous section on the careers and the courses and the assessment section of the portal as really the 3 kind of core bits of what the tool does and can do and can help you in that work with adults. An additional option that you have is to introduce a work opportunities tab, which you can control the content of. And that's a really, really useful bit of functionality in the tool, given everything that's going on. So if I run that, the work opportunities tab allows you to advertise and list out your own targeted work opportunities. So that could be specific job vacancies that you want to highlight in collaboration with key employer partners that you have. You could just advertise apprenticeship opportunities on here. You could have a mixture of stuff. You could include internships, any of those Kickstarter placements that you have. You could partner with your local job centre to advertise specific things in here. That's entirely up to you. This is a very customizable section of the tool, and you can list in there and control the content of that listing to suit what works best for you and adults in your local area. So this section is all about giving you that ability to offer a more bespoke support service for adults. Next, I would highlight the CV builder within the tool, which very much links nicely with that previous work opportunity section. So the CV builder, if I run one of those, allows the user to construct a pretty simple CV, but also allows you to then use that CV to link over on the right-hand side here, those work opportunities that we just saw in the previous tab. So in the CV, the various things you would have in there, employment history, things like skills, but then has a neat linkage within the tool such that you can use the CV to apply directly for some of those work opportunities in that work opportunities tab. So the CV builder and work opportunities sections of the tool work really nicely and can allow you to really have that more targeted offer for adults. Now, I've mentioned here earlier I'm using a demo portal, so a demo site for this section of the webinar, and you can see here that the main text on this demo site is fairly typical of a college or a provider career coach portal. So it defaults to the name of the college or provider, and then has a generic description of what career coach is designed to do, which, as I've mentioned a couple of times, is all about helping people to discover that connection between courses and careers, and how skills and education can help people find their way. Well, I wonder if in the current climate, your use of career coach with adults potentially calls for something more radical and more direct. And to do that, you do have the ability to edit your career coach portal into what's known as white label the tool. So for a version targeted at adults, you might change the name completely. That's fine, you can do that. And you might change the exploratory text like I've done here. So my suggestion here of job finder, and we'll work with you to give you the skills you need. That might be a bit direct. You can tell I'm not a marketing expert, and I'm sure you guys could come up with a better name. But I think you see the point I'm making here. It's about tailoring how you use career coach for the adult market. And likewise, as we've now touched on the assessment, the careers, the courses, and then CV builder and work opportunities tab. You have the opportunity and the ability to add and include your own custom tab into the career coach tool. Now you can call that tab whatever you like, and you can link from that tab to whatever you like. So this example here, this would provide a direct link from the career coach portal to the provider's online learning platform. You might want to link to something completely different. You might want to link to your local Job Centre Plus site, or another kind of portal that you have. You might want to change that so that it links directly to a live chat option if you have one internally, particularly important right now with lots of remote learning going on. You might want to link it to your employability team or other members of your institution that are going to help adults most directly. That's what that customizable link is all about. And then that might link there into another section of your website, like we see on screen here. So it could link directly to your the section of your website that's specifically informing people about your COVID response provision, like what we see here from our client at Brooklands College. That's what that link and customizable link in Career Coach is all about. Final idea from me in this section of the webinar. Your Career Coach portal, as we see on screen here, is going to be built to default to your own corporate colours and your own corporate logo, etc. But again, thinking more radically, do you have or do you want to have a separate identity for your COVID response work or your work with adults in the reskilling space? So do you want a tool for adults that looks different, as well as perhaps being called something different? You have the ability to change the colour scheme and have that really bespoke to what you're trying to do to engage with adults. So that's Career Coach portal there, the existing kind of functionality within the tool. So the assessment, the careers and courses which sit well together, and then CV builder and work opportunities which sit well together. And then finally, we've introduced the idea of a customizable link that you can link from the portal to whatever you want to link to. And then we've touched on the idea of renaming the tool for adults and potentially redesigning how the tool actually looks for a discrete offer for adults. Final thing that I want to cover in today's webinar is about linking that work and those ideas that are Career Coach specific to wider Emsi data capabilities. So some of you are already doing this, and I'd urge those of you who only have Career Coach to consider the usefulness of access to wider Emsi data, particularly in these times. So if we're talking about helping adults over the coming year, you're going to want to have a full understanding of what's going on locally in order to best position your college or your organisation to be able to best serve adults. So that's going to include things like what are the skills most in demand in your area since COVID began, how they're looking for different types of jobs, whether they are high paying or whether they are customer facing jobs, service jobs, different types of jobs. What are the types of skills that are in demand? Similarly, given the industry sectors in your region, what are the jobs that are most at risk for redundancies over the coming months? How many people are employed in those jobs in your local area, to give you an idea of potential scale of what you're dealing with here. And then again, many of you will be familiar with our FE Analyst tool. I'm not going to go through this in any detail, but for those of you who aren't familiar with FE Analyst, that's going to give your organisation ongoing access to data such as unemployment trends by month, employee recruitment trends, what are the jobs that are suffering, what are the jobs that are actually performing well, what employers are actively seeking people right now, what jobs are actually booking the trend and are actually performing well right now through employer advertising in your area, and what are the skills in those jobs in your local area. Again, it's all specific about your local area that are in demand. So if you aren't familiar with how Emsi can help you do all that and the various options to get you access to this data, then please do drop me a line. So in summary, then, I certainly do hope that those few ideas that I've flagged there have raised some ideas in your mind and have got your kind of creative juices moving. Career Coach has always been about connecting your courses with local careers and local jobs. That's what it's all about. And we think here at Emsi that is surely going to be more important now than it's ever been. And it's going to be more important over the coming year for sure. As we've seen, there are certain bits of the Career Coach portal that are going to be particularly relevant and useful for adults. We'd love to discuss that in more detail with you and how best to highlight those sections and how best to promote those sections that we've touched on in today's session. And then likewise, there are additional flexibilities that you can avail of. So things like custom links and customizable design that can allow you to take things to the next step and really target and bespoke your offer to adults. And then finally, as we've just touched on there, we at Emsi can help you understand the wider, broader picture of what's going on in your local and regional labour market. If you aren't already doing that, then I suggest that we have a conversation about how we can help you with that. As Debbie mentioned, you will receive a recording of today's session, and I'll be following up with you. If you do have any immediate questions, please do reach out to me with the details on screen there. Debbie, do we have any questions that we can deal with now?
No, just we had one question, but that would be dealt with after the session's finished, if that's okay. Thanks, Anthony.
Fabulous. Thanks for that, Debbie. Thanks to you all for joining us on today's webinar. That's it from us. We look forward to speaking to you soon.